Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Village Council, regular public meeting. The date is October 13th, 2021. The time is 8 p.m. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by a posting on the bulletin board in Village Hall, by mail to the Ridgewood News, the Record, and by submission to all persons entitled to same, as provided by law of a schedule, including the date and time of this meeting. Roll call.
Councilwoman Perrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Reynolds.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Seaton.
Here.
And Mayor Newton.
Here. Please join us for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join us in a moment of silence for our men and women serving our nation, our first responders, and all victims of violent crimes. Thank you. I move the bills, claims, and vouchers and statements of funds on hand as of September 30th, 2021 be accepted as submitted.
Second.
Perrin.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Seaton.
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes. I move that the Village Council minutes of March 24th and September 8th, 2021, having been reviewed by the Village Council and now available in the Village Clerk's office, be approved as submitted.
Second.
Perrin.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Seaton.
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes. We'll have two proclamations this evening. The first, National Diabetes Awareness Month, will be read by Councilwoman Reynolds.
Thank you, Mayor.
Wait, is there a feedback? Oh. I'm hearing myself twice, which is a delight, actually.
Okay. Whereas November marks the start of the campaign to raise awareness of diabetes and the need for greater access to diabetes care around the world. And whereas there were more than 460 million adults living with diabetes in 2019, with an additional 232 million adults with diabetes who were undiagnosed, and the number of people living with diabetes is expected to rise to 578 million by 2030. And whereas diabetes was responsible for at least 10% of the global total spent on health care and caused 4.2 million deaths in 2019. And whereas people living with diabetes can be more susceptible to the worst complications of COVID-19 as well as other medical complications. And whereas 100 years after the discovery of insulin, tens of thousands of people with type 1 diabetes who need insulin to survive, and more than 30 million people with type 2 diabetes who need insulin do not have access to a reliable and affordable supply. And whereas the centenary of the discovery of insulin is an opportunity to bring about meaningful change for those who are living with diabetes, and whereas the National Diabetes Education Program's 2021 to 2023 theme is Access to Diabetes Care, which advocates for all people living with diabetes to have adequate access to diabetes medicine, technologies, support, and care. And whereas governments, policymakers, and advocates should all act to increase investments in diabetes care and prevention and ensure everyone living with diabetes can access the care they need. And whereas World Diabetes Day, to be held on November 14th, 2021, is led by the International Diabetes Foundation and its members associations, and they call on national governments to provide the best possible care for people living with diabetes, develop policies to improve type 2 diabetes prevention, especially for children, improve diabetes screening to ensure timely diagnoses in order to prevent diabetes-related complications, and create and implement mechanisms to engage with those living with diabetes throughout the development of public policies related to the condition. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood recognizes the struggles that some families face in obtaining adequate access to diabetes care, and wants to show its support by proclaiming November as Diabetes Awareness Month and November 14th, 2021 as World Diabetes Day, and encourages all residents of the Village of Ridgewood to join in this worthy observance.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And the next proclamation, read by Councilwoman Perrin, to declare October National Bullying Prevention Month.
Whereas bullying is physical, verbal, sexual, or emotional harm or intimidation intentionally directed at a person or group of people, and whereas bullying occurs in neighborhoods, playgrounds, schools, and through technology, such as the internet and cell phones, and whereas various researchers have concluded that bullying is the most common form of violence affecting millions of American children and adolescents annually, and whereas thousands of New Jersey children and adolescents are affected by bullying annually, and whereas targets of bullying are more likely to acquire physical, emotional, and learning problems, and students who are repeatedly bullied often fear such activities as riding on the bus, going to school, and attending community activities, and whereas children who bully are at greater risk of engaging in more serious violent behaviors, and whereas children who witness bullying often feel less secure, more fearful, and intimidated, now, therefore, be it resolved that the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood does hereby proclaim October 2021 National Anti-Bullying Month, and encourages the Village of Ridgewood schools, students, parents, recreational programs, religious institutions, and community organizations to engage in a variety of awareness and prevention activities designed to make our communities safer for all children and adolescents.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And I just want to make a mention that we had another proclamation that appears to have gotten lost in emails, and that was to recognize Family Court Awareness Month. So we'll pick that one up next month and make it up. So if anyone is out there from that group, I apologize. It just was an email mix-up. With that, we will go to public comment, not to exceed 3 minutes per person for total of 40 minutes. Good evening. Ellie, is that microphone, just make sure that button's on and give it a good push up.
Ellie Gruber, 229 South Irving. I'm just here for a couple of minutes because last week a member of the public came to the mic and stated that we should put more playing fields on Shedler because it costs the village taxpayers millions of dollars. That is not true. What is true is that the village did purchase the property for $2.7 million upon the recommendation of the Open Space Committee in 2008. Soon after that, the village received $1 million from the Bergen County Open Space, Farmland, and Historic Preservation Trust Fund. And almost the same time, the village received another $600,000 from Bergen County. So the cost to the taxpayer at that time was $1.1 million. But wait, then the village received another $450,000 from Green Acres, which made the cost down to $650,000. And since then, we have received several other grants. I don't have the amounts here because the treasurer has them, making the cost to taxpayers close to zero. And I really wanted to set the record straight. It was a wonderful purchase. It really was. But the cost to the village taxpayers was almost nothing because of our ability to get grants that were very well deserved. Anyway, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ellie.
Rorick Holiday, 1 Franklin Avenue. I suggest you bring in the drama coach from the high school. to teach you how to speak into the microphone. Speak slowly, enunciate clearly. Think of yourself as coming from Alabama, not New Jersey. Because sitting back here, I have a hell of a time following some of the things you say. And I'm being very constructive. I'm sure the drama teacher would be delighted to teach how to speak. But whatever you do, speak slowly into the microphone. Now, as far as Shedler, I mean, I think my friend Ellie maybe stole my thunder, because what I was going to suggest is that once and for all, we get a financial reconciliation of what funds have been spent on Shedler. And somehow Ellie, I think, or my friend stopped at the land purchase, but there's nothing about the house. All in all, I'd like to know, I want to know, I should know, and you should provide me. I don't have to do an Oprah request. By the way, talking about Oprah requests, I want to speak so highly of Eileen Young. She's fantastic. Well, Heather, she is really, really professional, friendly, responsive, and I cannot compliment her enough. But it's going to make me sick to call her up again for another Oprah request, because I know how busy she is. Now, you owe it to us, the public, if you pride yourself on your transparency, to come up, to have Bob Rooney come up with a statement, a detailed statement on Shedler. What has been spent, for what, and how is it financed? Once and for all, and I don't want to hear about, do it in Oprah, or you're going to forget about it. If you have any pride and transparency, which, I disagree with you because you are not transparent, but if you have any pride and transparency, get Bob Rooney to come up with that statement. What has been spent on Shedler, for what, when, how is it financed? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to make a public comment?
Good evening, Council. My name is Chris Powers. My wife Jill and I own the premises at 451 East Saddle River Road. In May 1984, a drainage easement was deeded to the village of Ridgewood, which bisects our property. A brook ran through the center of the drainage easement, and Ridgewood was granted the right to pipe the brook if deemed piping necessary. No piping has been installed. By its terms, Ridgewood is to restore our adjoining property after it completes any cleaning or clearing of the easement. The easement and the brook within are overgrown with bushes, as well as large stones, some which have crumpled from the top of my driveway, diseased trees, fallen limbs, and debris from the north woods, all of which form blockages of the brook's flow. During heavy rains, the brook overflows, flooding my next-door neighbor's yard, the neighbor who lives on the other side of East Saddle River Road, but more importantly to Jill and I, the overflowing has caused the erosion of the southern earthen wall of the easement, to the point where it has caused parts of my driveway to break off and fall into the easement. Drainage easements allow municipal workers access to the property to make repairs so as to prevent water pooling or flooding. At our request, Peter Afuso, a Ridgewood principal engineering aide, visited the site on November 8, 2019, and acknowledged our concern for possible collapse of our driveway. He stated that the easement's wall requires stabilization work to be done and that the village would need to bring reef rocks, which would have to be transported across our driveway. Recent thunderstorms have caused raging floodwaters to further climb the easement's wall, further exacerbating the dangerous situation. Despite our numerous verbal and written communication with the village, nothing has been done. I invite all of you to witness firsthand the damage at 451 East Saddle River Road. I thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight, but I do expect communication from the village as to their next steps, so I know what my next steps need to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. With that, we'll close public comment, and just two things. I guess we should, Heather, we should circle back to those emails, because I thought there was some resolution to that, or there was some understanding on that particular easement. And I don't think there's a problem getting any reconciliation of the cost to the house. I mean, I think we discussed this often, and we just got another $500,000 grant from the, was it the Historic Preservation Fund?
Right.
So, yeah, so, and I think that that's a matching to funds already spent.
Mm-hmm.
So we certainly, as a council, would want to see where we're at with that, because on the funds that have already been expended out of Ridgewood taxpayer dollars, that will be significantly reduced based on that $500,000 award that
Correct.
we're receiving. So I think that we would all be interested in the same information, but I think we discuss this often enough that the information's out there, but we can certainly bring that back.
Yes, and also, aren't we having an event in November regarding flooding?
Yes, for November 17th, the engineering department will be holding a forum on flooding here, probably in the courtroom. I think it's at 7 or 7:30 p.m., and they will be discussing what can be done to help with the flooding, as well as questions and answers. So there will be a flyer going out, and an e-notice will have that information as well. So that's what we know at this point.
Okay. And the last thing, I just wanted to thank Ellie for bringing that information forward. I know that a lot of times folks come to the microphone, or they go on social media, or they email around, and they say all sorts of, I guess, reiterate all sorts of information, and so often it's completely inaccurate, and I think we would probably spend our entire lives 24/7 correcting that, so we appreciate that you did that. With that, we will go to our village manager's report.
Okay, we are in election season. The general election is November 2nd, and there are 3 ways to vote this year. You may vote by mail, which must be mailed back or put into a ballot drop box by November 2nd. In-person early voting is October 23rd to October 31st. Ridgewood registered voters may vote at any of the early voting locations in Bergen County from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday, or in person at your polling place on November 2nd. Details for voting are posted on the village website. The League of Women Voters is hosting 2 candidate forums ahead of the November 2nd general election on Thursday, October 14th at 7:30 at the Ridgewood Education Center. It will be for the Board of Education members. Incumbent Sheila Brogan, Christopher Kaufman, Hanju Kwok are up for re-election. Susan Madison and Mohammed Mahmood are also running. There are 3 available spots for full 3-year terms. On Wednesday, October 20th at 7:30 p.m., a forum will be held here in the courtroom at Village Hall for the Village Council term vacated by Councilwoman Bernadette Walsh. Melanie Huban and Paul Vagianos are running for a 3-year term. Both forums can be attended live or viewed on Channel 33 for the Village Council Forum, or Channel 34 for the Board of Education Forum on FiOS. The Board of Education Forum can be viewed live on the district site, and the Village Council's Forum can also be streamed live on YouTube on the Village of Ridgewood channel. Both will be archived and can be viewed at a later time. Green Ridgewood is sponsoring a packing styrofoam collection drive this Saturday, October 16th, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or until the truck gets full at the Graden Pool parking lot. The rain date is October 23rd. The village is also sponsoring a free mobile shredding event on Saturday, November 6th at Graden Pool parking lot from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. or until the truck is full. This is rain or shine. Documents will be securely shredded, no plastic bags or binder clips, and 4 file boxes per vehicle is the limit. Ridgewood Farmers Market continues on Sundays from 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the train station parking lot. It provides Jersey fresh seasonal produce and it's been extended into November, weather permitting. The train station coffee concession has reopened and is looking forward to serving former and new train customers. Chamber of Commerce presents a Halloween parade for kids, parents, grandparents, and friends on Saturday, October 30th, weather permitting, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Memorial Park at Van Ness Square. All are invited. Meet the Good Witch and more. The annual leaf placement yellow postcard has been sent to all village homes. Leaf placement will begin on October 18th in Area B, and then after that in other areas. Please remember that the dates on the postcard for your area are for leaf placement only. Our leaf pickup crews will come through your area after the expiration of the leaf placement dates. Do not place leaves out for pickup past the leaf placement date on the postcard. Instead, wait for your next leaf placement date to put out additional leaves for pickup. Village Council upcoming meetings are broadcast live on Village website and Channel 34 on FiOS. They are also available on YouTube. Upcoming meetings are October 27th is a Village Council work session. November 3rd is a Village Council work session. Both are at 7:30. November 10th is the Village Council public meeting, and December 1st is a Village Council work session at 7:30. And the public meeting is at 8 o'clock. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilwoman Reynolds?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything to report this week.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
I also have nothing to report this week. Shade Tree Commission met yesterday. I was unable to attend, so I'll review the minutes and report back.
Very good. Councilwoman Perrin?
Thank you, Mayor. Only 2 of my committees have met this week, and 2 of them have not. I'm going to speak slowly. If you can't hear me, raise your hand. The Chamber of Commerce met this morning, and their new guide will be mailed to every household in Ridgewood by November 1st. So you can learn about Ridgewood businesses in that guide. We discussed repair of the taxi stand downtown, and they were interested to know what that space would be used for. They also had questions about snow removal in the Central Business District. There are 3 new businesses who have joined the Chamber of Commerce: Ridgewood Living Magazine, Heart and Health, which is a shop on Broad Street selling athletic clothing, and Shoefly, which is a company that gets rid of fleas, ticks, and other pests. Green Ridgewood met, and we decided that since there are people who want to attend but don't feel comfortable indoors meeting, we're going to, for now, alternate Zoom meetings with in-person meetings. We are starting a new initiative for sustainable yards that is to create a standard and establish best practices so that we don't increase greenhouse gases with our lawnmowers, leaf blowers, trimmers, and also reduce pesticide use and fertilizer use that causes pollution in our water. Our group will start looking at what other towns are doing to transition their vehicle fleets to electric vehicles. And at the end of that, perhaps they will have a recommendation for the council. As you heard, there's a styrofoam drive on October 16th, and October 17th, Green Ridgewood will be at the farmers market with 2 demonstration electric vehicles that people can check out and learn about. We'll also have people answering questions about EAGER, encouraging alternative green energy for Ridgewood. And then, let's see. We also have Adopt a Drain, and that's a new initiative that we're trying to work up. And so with all these new initiatives, we are certainly looking for more manpower and volunteers. And so anybody who would like to come to the Green Ridgewood meetings, we'd love to have you. Our next meeting is November 4th at 7 o'clock, and that is going to be via Zoom. So if you'd like the link, just let me know. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and one more thing. If you are interested in early voting, the nearest place to Ridgewood where you can do that is Bergen Community College. Thank you.
Now you're done?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. If you can't hear me, raise your hand. I'm good. I'll try. So Access Weekend, this past weekend was an amazing event. We want to thank everyone who participated, especially everyone from our Community Access Network, Inez Bunzer, Robin Ritter, and all the folks that join that committee and come to our meetings and help organize and make it a wonderful event, highlighting and showcasing the talents of our special needs community members. So it was really great, and it was especially important weekend because we kicked that weekend off Thursday with a ribbon cutting at Ridgewood Commons, which is the new special needs housing over at the old Seal Funds building. And I was grateful to have Councilwoman Perrin and Councilman Reynolds standing there with us at that moment. But I was very emotional when I had the opportunity to speak because we had worked on this for so long, since actually, I believe, 2016. And we had heard through Access meetings so often the parents of special needs youngsters and special needs adults, the concern and worry for what will happen in the future as they're aging and their adult children are they were in some uncertainty as to what will happen and where they'll live. And the opportunity to participate and be a part of that was so incredible. So in my comments, I was remiss in not thanking our village attorney, Matt Rogers, our village manager, Heather Maylander, our CFO, Bob Bruni, and to my council colleagues in the past and present for their support in seeing this come to fruition. So it's really just an incredible, it's absolutely beautiful and amazing, and we just hope that those individuals that will have an opportunity to reside there will live long and happy lives right here in the heart of Ridgewood. And I've heard so many parents the gratitude to the village, and we certainly want to acknowledge Tom Toronto, United Way, and Shari De Palma of Madeline House because they are have been amazing to work with. So thank you to that, everyone there. Oktoberfest this past weekend was amazing. If everyone got there and had the opportunity to participate, it was wonderful. It was actually hopping on Saturday, and I guess Sunday was the rain. But I just had to point out that we had a little hiccup just, I guess, a couple of days prior to. There was supposed to have been a letter that went out to all the residents along the hayride route, and that letter had not gone out. And so I had organized a letter fairly quickly and had copies made, and I have to say that Councilwoman Perrin came in, and she and I worked on stuffing these envelopes, and we weren't sure how we were going to get those out just to alert the neighbors along the route. And Councilwoman Perrin, to her credit, not only stuffed those envelopes like nobody's business, but then she walked the entire route and hand-delivered every single one of them, and the feedback has been absolutely positive, so thank you for doing that. It was really appreciated. And let me just see what else. Oktoberfest, Ridgewood Commons. I think that might be it. I thought there was one other thing. Okay. So thank you to everyone, and thank you to Pam again. And with that, I guess we're moving on to our meeting.
Ridgewood Water Ordinances.
I'm getting there. All right. I move the first reading of Ordinance 3874.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes, so ordered. The clerk please read Ordinance 3874 by title.
A bond ordinance providing for various water utility improvements in response to damage caused by Hurricane Ida in and by the Village of Ridgewood in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, appropriating $75,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $75,000 bonds or notes of the village to finance the costs thereof.
I move that that Ordinance 3874 be adopted on first reading and that November 10th, 2021 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes.
The following resolutions for Ridgewood Water, number 21-298 through 21-304, will be adopted by a consent agenda with one vote by the Village Council. They will, each resolution to be considered on the consent agenda will be read by title only. I want to point out that Resolution 21-302 is for construction of the 20 PFAS treatment facility and not for the design. In the work session, I had indicated it was for the design. The memo that was written was a little bit confusing, but I do want to point out that it is actually for the construction of the treatment facility. Award sole source contract, exchange of granulated activated carbon vessels at Carwell. Rescind resolution number 21-210, award contract under state contract, Western Star tandem axle dump truck. Award contract under state contract, Western Star tandem axle dump truck. Award contract under North Jersey wastewater cooperative pricing system, maintenance of pumps and motors, repairs, replacement, and installation. Award contract, 20 PFAS treatment construction. Award professional services contract, PFAS rate setting and review of 2022 budget and water rates. Reject bids, pipes, appurtenances, and service materials. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes. I move the first reading of Ordinance 3875.
I'm going to second this, but may I say something?
Sure.
This is a very important measure, and I wanted the audience at home and here to understand why we are bonding this amount of money to be able to make the repairs necessary to address the damage done by Hurricane Ida. If we were to do this out of the operating budget, we would have to do it in the 2022 budget, and it would be extremely expensive. This way, it can be paid for over time. And the areas where this damage was are in the Parks Department. The biggest chunk is in the water pollution control facility, the sewage, because the filtration system there was greatly damaged, the screens. And also, the police department lost a lot of things like vests, guns, materials, and the village hall lost a lot of furniture and other things, and the parks department, of course. I'm glad to see that with the repairs that we've done so far, there are already people playing on Vets Field. I thought the repair was going to take longer. So I think this is a prudent measure, and I second it.
Okay.
Thank you, and a great explanation.
Okay. Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes, so ordered. Will the clerk please read Ordinance 3875 by title?
A bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in response to damage caused by Hurricane Ida in and by the Village of Ridgewood in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, appropriating $1,564,500 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,490,000 bonds or notes of the village to finance part of the cost thereof.
I move that ordinance 3875 be adopted on first reading and that November 10th, 2021 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
I second the motion.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes. I move the first reading of Ordinance 3876.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
And Newton?
Yes, so ordered. Will the clerk please read Ordinance 3876 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 165 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, garbage, rubbish, refuse, and recycling at Section 165-18 definitions.
I move that Ordinance 3876 be adopted on first reading and that November 10th, 2021 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Perrin?
Yes.
Reynolds?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
And Newton?
Yes, I move the first reading of Ordinance 3877.
Second.
Perrin?
Yes.
Reynolds?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
And Newton?
Yes. So ordered. Will the clerk please read Ordinance 3877 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 165 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, garbage, rubbish, refuse, and recycling at Section 165-19, container specifications and set out requirements.
I move that Ordinance 3877 be adopted on first reading and that November 10th, 2021 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Perrin?
Yes.
Reynolds?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
And Newton?
Yes. I move the clerk read Ordinance 3873 by title on second reading and that the public hearing thereon be open.
Second.
Perrin?
Yes.
Reynolds?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes. Will the clerk please read the title of Ordinance 3873?
An ordinance vacating the public interest in a certain 40-foot right-of-way located at the westerly intersection of Barrington Road and Upper Boulevard, and to provide the vacated area be incorporated into the adjacent properties.
The public hearing is now open. I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Perrin?
Yes.
Reynolds?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
And Newton?
Yes.
I move that Ordinance 3873 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
I second the motion.
Perrin?
Yes.
Reynolds?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
And Newton?
Yes.
The following resolutions, number 21-305 through 21-322, will be adopted by a consent agenda with one vote by the Village Council. Each resolution will be read by title only. Award contract, layout, printing, assembly, and distribution of 2022 Village Calendar. Title 59 approval, Ridgewood Train Station Taxi Stand, North Broad Street. Award contract, Ridgewood Train Station Taxi Stand, North Broad Street. Award contract, web-based municipal management software. Title 59 approval, furnishing laboratory analysis services, water pollution control facility. Award contract, furnishing laboratory analysis services, water pollution control facility. Title 59 approval, furnishing and delivering sodium bisulfite solution and sodium hypochlorite solution, water pollution control facility. Award contract, furnishing and delivering sodium bisulfite solution and sodium hypochlorite solution, water pollution control facility. Award professional services contract, update to parking rate feasibility study. Chapter 159, accept municipal alliance grant. Chapter 159, accept State of New Jersey Department of Health Strengthening Local Public Health Capacity Program grant. Change in title and text, matching funds for recreational opportunities for individuals with disabilities grant. Change start date for outdoor cafes in 2022. Authorize cancellation of certain property tax delinquencies and overpayments. Approved proposal by American Legion Post 53 for Gold Star Families Monument in Memorial Park at Van Ness Square. Approved proposal by Conservancy for Ridgewood Public Lands, restoration of parkland along North Broad Street. Appoint members to Zoning Board of Adjustment. Change in title and text, matching funds for Municipal Alliance Grant. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Perrin?
Yes.
Reynolds?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
And Newton?
I just have a quick question. I'm sorry. On Resolution 21321, that's the Board of Adjustment. Is that correct? Because I thought we did these appointments, but then one of them was resigned, and then somebody else was being appointed. So I'm sorry. I just realized as I was looking at that, I mean, we can still do it. It's fine. But the one new appointment is serving is the alternate 2 is correct, and the
Right.
alternate 1 is correct.
Right.
But the alternate 1, the first one listed is not, that person already resigned.
That was the person who resigned? That was my
I
misunderstanding.
think that we had this conversation, and so can we just, what should we do? Should we just change it on the floor? Or is it, I don't think it's an issue because it still appoints the people in their proper places, with the exception of that one.
Yeah, why don't we, okay, so I can read it, and so just leave alternate 1 as blank? Is that what you're saying?
So alternate 1 is Jason, and then Harold is alternate 2.
Correct.
And so the first part of it would be removed because it was the 2 alt positions that were being filled.
Okay, except, I'm sorry, I thought that the person who resigned was a full member. That's not correct?
No, I believe that we filled 2, we moved Sergio Allegre moved to planning board, and then Dan had worked, so he
So he
resigned.
took his,
Right, he didn't want to be reappointed. So he didn't want to be reappointed, and he wasn't. Or he was, and then he wasn't.
he was.
He was, and then he wasn't. But then, right, he was.
And that's
Right.
why I moved 1 up to the full
Yes,
membership.
but we already did those, I thought we did these 2 appointments 2 weeks ago. 3
We
weeks.
did the appointment for Robert Ives to alternate 1. Jason Carreri was alternate 2. Then the person who was the full member resigned, so Robert Ives moved up to the full member because he was 1.
No, so Robert is the
Then-
person who actually resigned
Oh,
the
I'm
day
sorry.
after he was appointed.
Okay.
So
I
he was
apologize. I
actually,
didn't-
so let me just go back a minute,
Okay.
so I got this straight. So Robert resigned the day after he was appointed
So
because
Jason moves up
of
to
work.
1,
Right.
and then 2
So
is
Jason moved to
Harold.
alt
I got
1,
it.
and Harold is alt 2.
Okay, so let me read it in full then correctly, okay? Just a minute.
I'm sorry, I should have,
I questioned that too, and I should have
Okay.
said something.
It's, I just didn't understand, I'm sorry. Okay, so let me just read the resolution in full correctly. Be it resolved that Jason Carreri be appointed as an alternate number 1 member of the Zoning Board of Adjustment to serve the unexpired term of Michael Pickholt, which term will expire on June 30th, 2023, and be it further resolved that Harold Maxwell be appointed as an alternate number 2 member of the Zoning Board of Adjustment to serve an unexpired term, which term will expire on June 30th, 2022, and be it finally resolved that these appointments be made effective immediately.
So, and just for the record, Michael Pickholtz didn't resign, he's still a regular member of the Board of Adjustment.
Yeah, but he served as
As the alt, and he moved up, so it's his seat.
Correct,
Okay,
correct.
very good. So do we have to do a separate vote on that? Because I'll say yes to the first consent agenda, because I didn't vote on that
Okay.
yet. So I'm
And
voting yes
then-
on the consent
And
agenda.
then do the 321. May I have a motion to accept 321 as I just read it?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Sorry for the confusion.
That's okay. Let me just go back to mine. All right, I think we're just going back to public comments, right?
Okay, we're set.
Okay. With that, we'll go back to public comment. Okay. And with that, we'll close public comment, and we'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, we have no closed session, right? Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.
So, thank you, everyone. Have a good night.